I make a motion to begin the meeting of July 28th of the Eastchester Fire District.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Carlo. We'll pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn into executive session.
Second.
And second, all in favor? Aye. The chief has given us your room. You think is the best place for executive session? We'll be back at 7:30. Welcome back to the monthly meeting of the Eastchester Fire Board, July 28th. So we were just in executive session. I'm going to make a motion to come back to open meeting.
Second.
Martin, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, very good. So we've already done the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll have our treasurer's report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, so 2 topics for discussion tonight. One is just an update on where we are with our overtime budget, what we can expect for the rest of the year. So some information for the board to consider. Not requesting a transfer at this time, but I do want to give you some details on what I expect to see as we get to September. And then also, it's that time of year to start talking about the budget. We have to have an approved adopted budget by September 28th, so we'll start working on that in the next month or so. So I want to get some feedback from the board on how they want to proceed on that. So with respect to the overtime, currently with overtime paid through July 23rd, we've used about $520,000 of our $790,000 budget. We have a number of factors that are impacting what we're seeing this year. We did start the year with lower staffing levels. We had a few positions that were open at the beginning of the year. We have a significant number of both long-term absences currently and of just regular sick days that we've seen in the first half of 2021. I've taken a look at what we have left for the remainder of the year. We know, there's parts that are somewhat easier to quantify because we know our contractual float days, vacation days, and then there's part of it that's sort of an unknown, which is what we can expect with sick leave going forward for the rest of the year, though we can sort of estimate it based on what we've seen historically. So at this point in time, we've used $520 of our $790,000 budget. I can estimate that we'll likely go over this budget, assuming we would stay, operating as normal, anywhere between $250,000 and $485,000. I know that sounds like a big range. As I mentioned, the low end of that range is really what we can quantify based on the long-term absences we have currently and the contractual days that are remaining for vacation and float. And then the higher end of that range, does build in an estimate based on sick leave, what we can anticipate based on historical activity. So at this point in time, we have not exceeded our budget. If you look at, the schedule for the rest of the year, I anticipate sometime around mid-September would be when we will have exhausted the budget that we have. I will also mention, any hiring activity, any retirements, any additional long-term absences, if they happen, anything like that does impact these numbers. That's why from this point on, I will continue to monitor this and provide updates to the board. But that's where we are right now. So I'm not requesting of transfer at this time, but I just want to put it on the board's radar. That's where I see it going just based on the numbers, so that the board has a chance to,
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Good.
Any comments?
It is what it is.
All right.
And
That's it
then,
for your report?
yeah, just as far as the budget, like I mentioned, it's sort of that time of year to start working on it. Not a lot of data is available yet. Tax cap information is not available. We haven't received any updates from, it would be early, like from our healthcare or our retirement system, you know, those, a lot of our costs that are sort of outside of our control. It's pretty early in the process to know what they might be anticipating, but I will start compiling where I think we'll be on those fixed costs. I'll meet with the chief to talk about, you know, any items he sees that we either need or might want to put in the budget in 2022, and then we'll have something to circulate for the board to start reviewing. And obviously, any board comments are welcome. If you want to do a workshop this year, if, you know, in the past we had a budget committee, so, you know, whatever, I'm open to whatever, however the board wants to proceed.
I mean, we're going to project, you know, last year's budget forward. I noticed that we're running a surplus at this point,
We are, yes.
halfway through the year, which was anticipated, and that's good. Hopefully, the pension costs will come down. You know, they had a huge increase last
Yeah.
year. Hopefully, that'll come back a little bit, or at least not go over it.
Right.
I would like to see the board consider putting money into an apparatus fund,
Okay.
to establish an apparatus fund. You did the research for it, you explained it excellent. We basically know that we have a 20-year-old tower ladder, it's gonna have to be replaced. If we put in 500,000 in the 22 budget and 500,000 in 23, and then just took it out of the funds for last year, we probably would be in line to buy one in 24. So what do you think, Chief? Is that
Yeah,
something we should
that's-
do? Is
I think that's a good plan.
I mean, it's not something we would do right now, obviously, because it's just either we add it to the budget or we don't.
Right.
So then we'll let everyone voice their opinion. We have $1 million in the capital reserve. It's not enough. You know,
Right.
if we're gonna build anything or do anything, we're gonna have to bond, so I
Yeah.
don't see any point in putting anything in that capital reserve, because you're just tying it up and you really just need it for a bigger sum.
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing piecemeal all along and it's not working, so hopefully we'll go a different direction. But we'll see, we had a meeting, we'll talk later about that. It didn't work that well. All right, so then it's the payment of bills. So the board has been supplied with 2 sets of bills and vouchers and 2 credit card bills for board approval. Chief Tweem has reviewed all prior to the meeting except the Satori claims and those specifically marked as reviewed by the treasurer. The treasurer has requested the board approve the following. Warrant 1, dated July 20th, 21, for $500,553,000, $432.51. Warrant 2, dated 7/28/21, for $36,129.06, and a credit card bill due July 18th for $1,503, and credit card bill due August 18th for $406, for a total of $591,470.65. Motion made by Commissioner Roach to pay the bills and vouchers as presented, which was seconded by Commissioner.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
You got it.
And I'll call Commissioner Randall,
Aye.
Commissioner Carlo,
Aye.
Commissioner Keating,
No.
Commissioner Raymond,
Yeah.
and Commissioner Roach tonight. Okay, so the bills are paid. Chief's report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Monthly activity report for June 2021. Again, Group 2 had a fire. I mentioned it last month, on Saturday, June 5th, and just good job by Group 2. I neglected to thank our mutual aid partners. New Rochelle Fire Department came and covered for us at our firehouse here at headquarters with an engine and ladder. So thank you to New Rochelle for that. Tim Dalton's been busy working down at the Marble Schoolhouse, Eastchester Historical Library. The AC unit is repaired. He had the electricians there upgrading the emergency exit lights and installing or repairing the electrical service coming in. So that's moving along. I'll cover a little bit more on that at the end of my report. As normal, the long-term absence, we have 4 members out, 1 member still on light duty. Getting into the Historical Society Library, we entered a lease agreement with the town. I signed it after approval at the last month's meeting, so that was fully finished, and we have a copy. Esang filed it, and the town has an original copy. It goes through the end of the year. I'm hoping that we'll be out of there by October or early November before the really cold season comes. The plan is to keep a presence down in Chester Heights by operating with 2 members inside the Eastchester Historical Society Library behind the Marble Schoolhouse on California Road. Again, thank you to the Historical Society and to the town of Eastchester for allowing us to maintain a presence down there. I anticipate from Vinco's construction schedule that we'll probably be moving out on or around August 6th, and they'll probably start on that Monday, August 9th with the work at the firehouse. So there's a couple things I emailed to the board. It's time for emergency generators to get their annual preventative maintenance. They change the oil, they send the used oil to, or sample to the laboratory to make sure there's no water in it or anything. They send out the antifreeze. So that is a contract that we renew. It's not a maintenance contract. It's a service for each of the 5 generators, and the total is $25.65 for the service. So I'm asking the board to approve me to be able to sign off on that maintenance agreement.
Do you have a resolution written already?
Well, I have the contract, so I'll say that the board authorizes Chief Tween to engage with GenServe out of Plainview, New York, to do the annual preventative maintenance on the 5 emergency generators for a price of $2,565.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call board. Commissioner Malone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Aye.
Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Commissioner Raymond?
Aye.
And Commissioner Roach. Okay?
Thank you. I had also asked the board to take a look at the HVAC RFPs. We received 4 bids. I don't know if the board did get a chance to look at them. We had postponed it at the May meeting, so the board would have some time to look at those. I believe the lowest cost one was Acorn, but
Crown,
but
right?
what Crown? I'm sorry, yeah, Crown AC.
Yeah, I'll give you a motion to accept the RFP or award the contract.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And it's my understanding that we're not bound to them. We're using them under the contract.
Right,
If they
right.
don't work out, we can move on to another vendor.
Sure. Yeah. We're not bound to use them.
Okay.
And then finally.
Oh, wait, shouldn't we vote on that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Malone? Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
No.
Commissioner Raymond?
Aye.
Commissioner Roach is aye. Very
Okay.
good, it's passed.
And finally, I asked the board to consider allowing the removal of the Patrol Company No. 1 letters from the front of the Bronxville Firehouse. Some of those letters had fallen down and were missing. We're also missing the C and the H in Eastchester. Those letters are, if we want to replace all the letters, it's $573.75. If we just want to eliminate the Patrol Company, which was a company that probably hasn't served in over 30 years, I don't know, maybe Mr. Commissioner Ranalone could say. But that, the Bronxville Engine Company is still there, so I would leave those letters up there, but we haven't had the patrol vehicle probably since the 80s or early 90s.
Any other thoughts?
I agree with the chief on that. Like he said, the patrol company has been inactive for at least 30 years. And their truck was actually bought by a retired fireman who used it for a while for his business, and it's been gone probably just about as long.
Still any ideas?
I'll give you a motion to remove those letters and restore the original letters back to the,
For
Well, you need
Eastchester,
it for
and we'll
Eastchester,
leave the
yeah.
Bronxville Engine
Yeah,
Company
sure.
No. 1 or No. 2 up there.
Actually, I would like a 9 added to that and make it real. Bronxville Engine Company 29.
Let me see what it says now. It's
It says Bronxville Engine Company number 2.
No. 2, okay.
You add a 9, the same size, and you got
I
the
believe
X.
that's their incorporated name.
Oh,
That's why
okay.
It says Bronxville Engine and Hose Company No. 2.
All right, so,
Yeah, we were gonna leave that, and the patrol is on the arch of the door. So, since that doesn't exist, and
So-
probably most of the
I give you a
members.
motion, there's no second.
I'll second the motion. So the motion is for you to
To
do
remove
the
Patrol
CH.
Company No. 1, and then purchase the C and the H, and have Tim put it up to get those missing letters up there.
Yes.
All right, that's the end of my report.
You got it.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
No.
Commissioner Raven? Aye.
Yes.
Commissioner Roach is aye. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we have a donation check. The notes, oh. All right, so we're basically going to make a motion to accept the donation check. Do you have the background or?
It's in there instead of that
Alright.
vanilla folder right there.
This guy?
Someone saying thank you for coming to help us, and I believe the check value is $75.
Very good.
And
So,
Cheryl gave the notes for what you, if you choose to accept it or decline it.
and we'll see what they ask. And basically, it's, the board decides what it was designated for and whether that's a worthy cause. And here it is. Thank you for coming to our aid on the evening of June 7th, the fire you were just referencing, I believe. Thank you all for your service. R. McCardle. And they wrote a check, a donation for our services, $75. So I'll make a motion that we accept the donation from the McCardle family and put it in the general fund. Can I have a second? Commissioner Malone?
Aye.
Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Aye.
Commissioner Raymond?
Aye.
Commissioner Roach is an aye. Very good. Well, if you give that check, or who doing it? I guess it goes to Jamie. All right.
You get the money.
Maybe this will start a trend where organizations and residents will send donations to the Eastchester Fire Department so we can prove our services.
In addition to their taxes.
Chester Heights bid. I don't think we're prepared for that tonight.
Okay, we're gonna table that
Yeah, I
for
think.
the next meeting?
Do you want to move with that, or?
No, we can table it.
Yeah. So, and hopefully we'll have an early
So
August
I'll give
meeting.
you a motion to table it to the August meeting.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very good. And then, you know, we really don't have much to say about Senator Meyer's meeting, or May's meeting, except for that it was delightful. She was so helpful. She set up a Zoom meeting, and the commissioners went 2 at a time to obey all executive session and public meeting rules. And she really wants to help. It was very encouraging. She gave us good advice. She told us how to go forward. We have to actually develop a proposal. I just shows you how naive we are, right? I said, oh, yay, state, we want to build something. We want to do what you want to do. Help us out. And that just doesn't work that way. And when you think about it, it makes sense because everyone and their uncle would say, build me something if I don't have to put anything down. You know, we've identified that we need a new firehouse. And it's a matter of, do we renovate this firehouse at whatever cost? I mean, eventually we're gonna, next month again, we're gonna probably talk and discuss about putting an RFP out for a bid attorney to do the background check on what we wanna do. Do we wanna rebuild this firehouse? We've done it in the last few firehouses. They've been disasters or haven't worked out perfectly anyhow. And it might be nice to just start with something new. It's something different and it's expensive, so we're gonna have to let the public decide. So next month we'll continue to communicate with Senator Mayer's office and let her knowledge, you know, make the process more fruitful. And hopefully there will be state aid and even federal aid. I haven't heard from Congressman Bowman yet. I've called his office a few times. Commissioner Keating and I will go visit him if he will have an audience with us. But that's basically where that is. I thank Senator Mayer for all her help and her assistance, and I'm sure she's going to be a great assistance going forward. So canvas interviews, I'll turn that over to whoever asked for that.
The interviews to hire
Yes.
off the list. I'd like to set up a date where we can interview the 7, I believe it's 7 candidates who have 100 and have the CPAT for positions, open positions in the Eastchester Fire Department.
I think we should fulfill the transfers poll. We said we voted to transfer, we did the interviews, everybody has their certificates, and we should vote to hire the transfers and transfer 2 and 2 firefighters. We've done it all, we said we would do it to the public, and we should do it. There's no reason not to, zero explanation for it.
If we do that and it comes to a vote, I will tell you that I would have to vote against it.
Okay?
All
It's
right.
not,
I just don't think we're ready
if I can
to
expand on
do the
that.
canvassing and have the interviews until we reconcile the transfers. The board voted to hire transfers. We interviewed them. We brought them through the process. It's going to save the district money. We're likely to get firefighters who are much more experienced in a busier fire district for the same money. It's going to save the taxpayer money. It's going to bring strong firefighters to the district. Why not do it?
And it'd be online in 2 weeks? Oh, no, actually, you take a month probably
Yeah,
for their
background checks and
everything.
civil
Super
service
fast.
has to
You
bless it.
save overtime immediately. And there is plenty of time to pull from the regular list.
As you're all well aware, I was against the transfers back in January at my first meeting when it was first proposed. And there was even a vote of the board at that time, and to send letters out to anyone who was interested in transferring. And I voted against that, and I was in the minority. And although I realize that it might be easier for me, to get eventually higher off the list, I still feel that there are more than enough qualified candidates on the list. And even if we're only talking about transferring 2 people from another department to take 2 positions, that's going to be 2 less people who are currently on the list that will not get hired. And I believe that as residents, taxpayers, patrons of local businesses, that they should have the opportunity, the way every other candidate on the list in town has had over the years. There's 7 people with hundreds now who are, I haven't interviewed them, but I'm sure they would be qualified. There are almost 30 candidates with 95s. We will never get to all those 30 95s. So I think we have smart people who are on the list, and it's just a matter of doing the interviews and deciding on which ones would serve the department best. And I know if I was one of those 30, I would like one of those top numbers there in the 195 score. I would certainly want to have the opportunity to come for an interview and possibly get hired.
We're not taking away any opportunity from it. We're actually creating opportunities somewhere else, right? And if you look at it from a firefighter perspective, you're just grabbing 2 firefighters from somewhere else, and it'll create space somewhere else for 2 other firefighters. And if you're a firefighter and you care about firefighting, who cares? The kids here will get their opportunity.
How so?
The list will exhaust itself. There's 89 people on the list who won't get a job here. And what will those kids do? They'll just try for the next list. It's simple.
We're taking away from people that are in
Thomas.
town right now that can come on the force. I don't see how that's a plus, to take away from that opportunity. People in town to transfer people in. It's August. It hasn't worked out. We're not saving any money.
We are saving money.
We could have had kids in the class in March and they'd be on job already. What did we accomplish?
We are saving money.
Okay, wait. Well,
We
So take a
wound up
vote, Tom.
spending money because we didn't do anything except for interviews in April with the transferee candidates. And it's now the end of July, and we're still talking about the transfers, and we've said nothing about hiring off the list. We could have, like Paul said, we could have hired off the list back in January, February to get into the March class, and I believe I even mentioned that at the January meeting to do that. Again, I was not in the majority, and I feel that,
You jumped in to interview the firefighters, so that made it at a time where it wasn't opportune for Stu to actually. Stu voted to transfer, but didn't get the opportunity because we interviewed with you,
right.
and he was too busy. So he's obviously not going to vote on it if he hasn't interviewed the kids, so
I
you're the one who
understand that.
interviewed them.
I understand that.
And that's what we're talking about now, is it's between you 3 to set up the interviews. Brian, I believe you voted with the board to send out the canvas letters and to set up the interviews, right? Last month. So it's done. It's really, the discussion's over. It's just a matter of you 3 getting together and doing the job.
No, I'm going to interview.
Oh, okay,
also.
so certainly.
You should stay out of it, right?
Right.
But
Okay. So what do you think? I mean, do we need to settle anything? We don't need to vote on anything. It's just a matter of
We
establishing.
just come up with a date and.
Exactly.
so are you saying you're never going to transfer these kids that we interviewed?
Correct.
You wanna take a vote on it, Tom, so we get a formal vote?
To vote.
Of the transfers? All right,
I'm confused about something.
okay.
So, I understand your guys' position, I totally get it. I understand your position. You guys conducted interviews with candidates?
We did.
Okay.
Not off the list.
No, with the
Right.
transfer
The
people.
transfer,
You
right,
did,
right.
right? Who was
I
there?
was not there.
Who was there? You were there, you were
The
there.
three of us.
Okay. You're not interested in transfers? You're not interested in transfers, is that correct? You're not capable?
No,
correct?
for transfers, I believe I am. I'm not
Okay,
taking anyone
so
off the list. I would have voted.
All right, I'm just trying to get an understanding of what's going on. Okay.
I have no problem with any of the people who were interviewed, possible transferees that were interviewed. They all interviewed well, but I still feel that, and my original argument was, they have a job. Now we're gonna give them another job. We have people on the list who don't have a job. Those are the ones I'd like to see get a job. I can understand that people from Mount Vernon wanting to come to Eastchester. There's certainly more job security here than there is over there, and better working conditions. But they have a job. The guys on the list don't. And they're the ones that I would like to see get the job if they're qualified.
Chief, what is your opinion about getting people on the line right away, which was the original impetus for this?
Yeah, I have no problem with transfers. I have no problem with hiring off the list. I just want to get at more people so I don't get complaints about how much overtime is being paid.
And we can
So
put the two guys on.
I'm not opposed to transfers. I'm not opposed to hiring off the list.
And we can
So-
put them on right away, right, chief?
Well, if civil service approves the transfers and then they get past the background check, so I don't know the time, like, do you have any idea how long civil service would take to give us an answer?
I don't, we haven't done transfers before, but I know from what they explained, you would do your background checks and your physicals, assuming you're planning to do those, which I think you would. You do that first and then provide all the paperwork to civil service for their final sign off. So,
So the background checks would take no more than a week, and the physicals could be done, within a week, depending on scheduling, but it would be up to get an answer from civil service.
Yeah. And they're fast.
Yeah, that's basically what it says here. All right, well, I'll make the motion to hire transfers. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Motion to appoint the following, well, we have to discuss that.
I would just use the two names that we think.
Well, we'll lose one name. It's for one. So what name? All right, if you want to, it's fine. Who are you suggesting?
I think we should do two, because we told the public.
Fine,
we'd do
that's
it.
fine.
I think we should hire Kyle Steele and Gregory Smith.
Okay, and anyone have any comments?
No.
You have no familiarity with them, right? All right, so motion to appoint the following: Kyle Steele and Gregory Smith to the position of firefighter on probationary basis, contingent upon a successful background check and conditioned on approval by the Westchester County Civil Service Commission at the starting salary of $56,375 per year and other benefits provided for in the collective bargaining agreement with IAFF Local 916 with an effective start date of September 1st?
it would pend
Yeah.
civil service approval,
Pending
but that
on
would be fine.
the civil service approval.
It's far enough.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Rallon?
No.
Commissioner Carlo?
No.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond?
Abstain.
And Commissioner Roach will vote yes, but it does not pass. All right, so let's go to the wage increase for maintenance mechanic Timothy Dalton. Motion to increase yearly salary of Timothy Dalton to the district's maintenance employee by 2.5% on July 31st, 2021, and then another 2% increase on July 31st, 2022. 30th. July 30th, 2022. Motion to provide that Timothy Dalton, all right, we won't deal with that one. All right, so I'll make that motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, so the motion second, so it's basically Tim Dalton's raise, 2.5%, 2%, 2-year raise. Commissioner Arnold?
Aye.
Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Aye.
Commissioner Raven?
Aye.
And Commissioner Roach is an aye. All right, so then we have a settlement. Commissioner Roach will make a motion to approve the payment of $120,000 to Eastchester FD firefighter badge number 144 to settle a future GML 20782 claim, conditioned upon the member's execution of an agreement which includes all negotiated terms and in a form acceptable to the district. And Commissioner Roach is an aye, so that matter is dealt with, and we have one more space. All right, district officers' compensation with legal counsel. Commissioner Roach is making a motion to require that the district's fire chief or designee, treasurer and secretary copy the Board of Fire Commissioners on all communications, including emails being preferable form of communications with professional services, and not only legal counsel, but all the professional services. Just say there's more transparency, everyone knows what's going on, no one's caught off guard. To the district legal counsel in which a legal opinion is requested or may result in a legal opinion, and that any phone call by said district officers to district legal counsel or any professional services which a legal opinion is requested or a quote is requested for that may result in be memorialized in an email to district legal counsel on which the Board of Fire Commissioners is copied. And do you understand that?
I just have a question. When I'm dealing with 207A, you have to handle the appeal, so I could see an issue if you have to be CC'd on
And
those
Jamie is
things.
going to have an issue
So
with
there
that,
have to
but
be
we're
some
going to follow,
exceptions.
of course, there is exceptions, absolutely.
Was that in the resolution? If you say with some exceptions,
I agree with the
See,
chief.
all right, well, with some exceptions for personal, private reasons and anything standardized by law.
I-
If you're not allowed to release the information to people by law, then don't.
do you want to ask Mr. Sweeney?
Sure, Paul?
Sure. To Chief's point, I think that the workaround, Chief, would be not to use the firefighter's name in that email to me. It's going to copy the board. That's one way not to violate someone's privacy or have the board obtain too much information. The other workaround would be the chief, for example, calls me on that particular issue, and I talk to him, and he memorializes our conversation and the issue in an email, which hopefully doesn't divulge any confidential information.
But wouldn't it be obvious who we're talking about? I mean, I think it would just be obvious. Like, how could they not know who we're talking about when, they're well aware of who's out on injuries and things like that? That's fine. If that's what you want me to do, I just won't put the name. But I think it's going to be obvious who we're talking about in certain cases.
Chief, unlike a discipline case that we talked about before, the fact that the board makes 207A decisions is not of the same consequence, because the firefighter or retiree's remedy is to seek binding arbitration. So although I do respect the privacy issue, I think there are ways that we can work around it so that we can protect the name of the individual from an inadvertent disclosure.
Can I ask a question? Just help me out here. Who wrote the resolution? Who wrote the resolution? Paul wrote it? Paul, do you think that maybe it would be advantageous for us to revise the resolution and put it at our next meeting so there's more clarity?
Yes, I mean, it's based on the chief's concern and perhaps the concern of other commissioners regarding exceptions, perhaps we rework it to address those concerns.
Okay.
My just as long as we're talking about it, my biggest concern is I really would want to burden the board of fire commissioners with getting copies of every single email. That's why it was geared more to emails of consequence, in which a legal opinion is being sought, which may result in a legal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I do have concerns that you may get bogged down in a lot of minutia.
Okay. I would make a motion, I understand the merit of it, but I would make a motion to table that for the next meeting.
Second.
To give Paul time to revise that
All in favor?
resolution.
Aye. All right, so then thank you, Paul. The next one is the discussion of the Dominic DiRenzo out-of-state training. And the only reason we're having this is because the board passed a resolution that we did not rescind, that any out-of-state training had to go for board approval.
That costs money,
That costs money.
yes.
Or correct.
For reimbursement, they have to go to board approval.
So members, if you want to go to training out-of-state on vacation time, the chief says it's okay.
At their own expense, they can go.
Let us do it, so we can go about it.
27 ladder 16,
car 2102
What's that?
for 14, that's 14 Central Drive, between Thomas Place, Parkview Drive, residential alarm. Engine 30, engine 27, ladder 16, car 2102, number 14, that's 14 Central Drive, between Thomas Place, Parkview Drive, and residential alarm, 636-2013.
So firefighter DiRenzo is looking to take a confined space training class, and he does a lot of our technical rescue training, whether it's rope work or confined space, or if it's trench rescue. He also works for the state and does training for them as well. But the knowledge he brings back, he teaches. Like he'll work, when he does mutuals and other groups, he'll impart that training onto our members. So as we did with the rope arborist rescue class, I think this is well worth spending whatever the cost. I think it was like $500 or something.
I'll make that motion, chief, to pay that.
And I'll second that. I'll call the board.
Aye.
Commissioner Randall, Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Aye.
Commissioner Raven?
Nope.
And Commissioner Roach is an aye. Okay, so he has permission to go through that.
By the way, PERB, I think, also does the training for free. If you call them up and you can set it up. You can do confined space training.
Yeah, that's more geared toward manholes for like highway departments. This is going to be like a lot more detailed than what you would get from PERB.
Yeah,
So
just let him circulate his certificate back to us.
yes,
Thank
yeah.
you, appreciate it.
I want to acknowledge the members of the VBA for attending the meeting. I appreciate it. I'm sorry that we weren't able to talk more in depth, but you made a request to use Station 2, and under council's advice, the board is saying no for now as we review your request and take into account your current status and level of activity in support of Eastchester Fire District.
Fine.
All right? And that is what we need to talk about. What is the support that you're providing Eastchester Fire District? So at some point, we have a volunteer committee. Hopefully you'll sit down and meet with us and we can map a road forward so that everybody benefits.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Dave. All right, so,
Question, Commissioner.
Public
please,
comments when we get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
thank you. And we are almost there. Oh, Steve, we are there.
Yeah, Steve
Steve
just
had a
left.
call.
He had to
There
go on
you
the call, yeah.
I get to go first?
Yep.
When COVID hit and we locked down the firehouses for only working personnel, we did not conduct our regular meetings in the firehouses. Now that everything seems to have been lifted, what is the reason that we're not allowed back into the firehouses?
Under council's advice.
We'll take
Advice
that
of
and
what?
We'll take that and go with it.
Well, what was
We'll
his
see how far
advice?
you guys can carry this.
Not to allow you to, oh, please. Please, Paul.
Yeah, I provide legal advice to the Board of Fire Commissioners. There is no duty for any commissioner to disclose that advice. And as the commissioner, as the chairman indicated, the board is reviewing the status of the volunteer fire organizations, and I'm sure they'll be back in touch.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so are you authorized to speak on behalf of 916?
Not today.
Would you like to say something at all?
Not today.
Okay.
This is the resident.
Commissioners?
Well, thank you.
Any commissioners comment?
No comments.
All right, so then I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
All in
One more
favor?
question from the public.
Sure.
Sure.
The status of Station 4 is what? Is it gonna start construction?
I'm anticipating around August 9th, that Monday, they're probably gonna start doing work.
What
there.
is gonna be done?
They're gonna replace the floor, so the apparatus floor is gonna be replaced.
Okay.
The ceiling, the tin ceiling is gonna be stripped and painted, and the exterior on the left side of the firehouse, we have water issues, so they're gonna waterproof that. They're gonna excavate, remove the garbage shed, and I believe they're gonna waterproof that foundation wall
Okay.
on the left side. Further down the road, we're going to be going out for RFP to redo the bathroom, and the old deputy chief's office are gonna become ADA bathrooms, handicap accessible bathrooms. And they're also gonna have to do a ramp so that the front entrance is handicap accessible. So there'll be a ramp that comes up to the front door, and then a second ramp that goes down onto the apparatus floor. And an HVAC system, so like air conditioning, heating, because right now there's no boiler in that firehouse, and so that will also be. But those haven't even gone out for bid yet to award contracts. Right now, we just have the floor, the ceiling, and the waterproofing. At this point, we talked about HVAC for the second floor, but I think we're looking at that, maybe re-examining that. So that's nothing definite on the second
So
floor
there's
for
no
now.
work upstairs at all, so we don't
No.
have to move anything.
Nothing's being touched upstairs, yeah.
That's all.
From past experience, when they did Station 5, anything in that firehouse that's there when they're doing the floor is gonna be a mess when they get finished. No matter how well it gets covered and taped and everything. My personal recommendation would be to take everything out that you can prior to work starting.
It doesn't leave us much time, that's
Well,
why
t-
I'm asking.
we're,
You
Tom
were
just
ordered
said
to
they
take
don't
that
have
stuff
access
out 2
to-
years ago.
No, we weren't.
Oh, please. Okay.
We weren't,
A meeting adjourned, all in favor?
because you
Aye.
piecemealed it.
I,
Thank you.
You go wrong.